United States government admitting that they're making up shit about Russia over the Ukraine war, and the journalists are cool with it. So this is 3 U.S. officials tell NBC News that the United States claims based on intelligence on Russia were made up simply to preempt the Russians. One U.S. official says it doesn't have to be solid intelligence when we talk about it. So let's watch this.
With the U.S. using intelligence to fight an information war and doing it to Russia for months now, and it's working. NBC News national security correspondent Ken.
So they're using propaganda to fight an intelligence war, and it's working. So we're spewing enough propaganda from the West, the United States and NATO, that we're somehow winning some kind of propaganda war. Now, news people are supposed to not repeat propaganda. They're supposed to debunk propaganda and tell you the truth. Of course, that's not what they do in the United States because the news media is owned by the same people who want these wars. Okay.
Delaney and live in Washington. Ken, I want to
Now, the irony here that they go to this guy. Here's the irony. They go to a guy named Ken Delaney. No, how do I know Ken Delaney? And how do I know who he is? Well, because it was found out, revealed, he got caught running his stories through a CIA liaison. So he would send his stories to the CIA and they would okay him for him. And then he would submit them. So that's a guy who's working for the CIA. And at the time, he was employed by the Los Angeles Times. So the Los Angeles Times got rid of him over that scandal, being found out that he was working for the people they're supposed to be investigating and debunking. He was actually working with them. Did it hurt his career? No, he got a job at NBC News, and now he's their intelligence reporter for NBC News, the guy who got outed by the Los Angeles Times for working for and with the CIA. That should end your career. Of course, it does it in corporate news because that's exactly the kind of person they want to manufacture consent. So now they bring this guy on, and here's what he says.
By giving people an example of what this is so they know what we're talking about. Take a look.
They're also suggesting that Ukraine has biological and chemical weapons in Ukraine. That's a clear sign he's considering using both of those.
Can you explain to our viewers what was going on there and what NBC News has learned about that claim this week from 3 different U.S. officials?
Yeah, that was a great example of what we're talking about. That was based on declassified intelligence, but we're also told the intelligence wasn't very clear about what exactly was going on. And they decided to disclose it as a way of deterring Russia from doing that and putting the world on notice.
So what he's saying is that the Biden administration knew that claim was false, and they went ahead and said it anyway to try to get it in front of the propaganda war with Russia. And these 2 morons, or willing dupes, don't have a problem with that. They think that's good because we're winning the war on with propaganda.
This could happen. And that's what's going on here, the big picture. This is an unprecedented use of declassified intelligence. We've never seen this level of information warfare before from the U.S. government. And what they're doing is they're trying to preempt the Russians, get ahead of Russian disinformation, even mess with Vladimir Putin's brain, as one person put it, leave him off balance to try to show that the United States knows what Russia is up to and is going to get ahead of it. It's really rather remarkable. Another example was when they announced that Russia had gone to China to ask for help with getting some weapons. That hasn't come to pass yet, and it was almost a way of putting China on notice. Hey, we know what's going on here. Don't let this happen. So
again, another thing that was made up that you reported, and it didn't happen. And he's saying this is all good because the United States is winning the war they're messing with Putin's head by putting out misinformation and propaganda that gets repeated breathlessly by guys like him.
Really interesting and unprecedented use of intelligence here, Allison.
Yeah, and Ken, as you just said, not just intelligence here, unprecedented use. One U.S. official telling you it doesn't even have to be solid intelligence when we talk about it. It's more important to get out ahead of them. Putin specifically.
So it doesn't have to be real. It doesn't have to be true. It's more important we spew this shit, get out there, and then you report it right away.